Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. We have been to hell. No, not literally. Last night it was NWA Samhain's pay-per-view. They sent us to hell. They sent us back again. And we both survived it. When I say we, being we, because those of you listening on Spotify, you won't be able to see my illustrious co-host, but you'll be able to hear her right now. Fiona Lockwood, good. It's still afternoon, right? Or is it evening now? How would you do it?
It's technically still afternoon. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just it's been long days watching this show. I've watched another show as well. Went to a show last night. You've been busy over the weekend at shows too. So it's catch up time before I put my turnbuckle out of office on for a week.
Rub it in, right, don't you?
Yeah, rub it in, definitely. So you'll be seeing some pictures as well, just to make it worse for you, as this week happens anyway. But last night or this morning, depending on where you watch the show, NWA presented its most violent and extreme pay-per-view of the year. And I think they delivered on that, Fee.
I think they did for the most part, yeah. There were some surprises, but I think for the most part it was pretty full on.
I must say, loved the venue. It was a really
it was fabulous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
If you didn't see it last night, it was basically almost like a theatre setting. So it was almost like an amphitheatre with the wrestling on the ground, and then they had a couple of tables ringside and a couple of seats ringside, and then tiered seating all the way back, and it looked really full. I don't know how many tickets they'd sold. I had heard on the grapevine that it was about 700-800 before the doors opened last night, but I thought it looked great. The tiered seating, the amphitheatre style seating is fabulous. I personally like working shows with that kind of seating because you feel like the crowd are on top of you and the noise just travels down to you when you're in the ring. So yeah, the venue was smashing, really, really good.
It was good. It was good to see. It was good to see a lot of rowdy people in there as well. They made a hell of a lot of noise throughout the show. And let's get on to it. We'll cover off the pre-show pretty quickly because it was a 15-match card. So it was 14 matches. There's 14 matches. We'll get into that why that was as we roll on. The pre-show match, the first one was Brandon Day defeated Man Bun Jesus.
I was like, Man Bun Jesus, what name is that? And then I saw him and I went, that makes sense.
He won his match. Clearwater and a Country Gentleman did beat Zion and the Outrunners. Although Mr. Kazana Sr. got a nasty little shiner, if you've seen it on Twitter.
I saw that on social media today. He has a beautiful smashed nose, but I don't know if it's like on the bridge of his nose.
It was like here as well, wasn't it?
It's absolute belter he's got. Yeah.
And he did say it's not over between us. And the Country Gentleman and Clearwater picked up the victory in that one. Two bits of major news from it was we have a new number one's contender for the women's world.
We do. Lovely Samantha Starr.
Correct. And that was a great four-way match.
It was really good.
Brilliant four-way match to go there. And lastly, a title change on the preview. The title change. The Immortals defeated Daisy Kill and Talos for the NWA United States Tag Team Champions. And that's changed twice in two pay-per-views now. So
it has. I am delighted with this result, though. It's a long time coming for Kratos and Odinson. Absolutely, I am. I'm really pleased with that title change. I've probably said it before. I just don't get the Daisy Kills Talos thing. Like they've not. I don't want to say bond. I've not bonded with them, but I just don't get it. They don't do it for me. So to see new champs for the US Tag Team Championships, I'm very happy with that one.
Me too. I'm happy to see it. And we'll see how that rolls on when Power begins. Again, they are taping this weekend and in the middle. So they're taping this weekend and then on the 18th, I think it was something along those lines. Back in Nashville, was it for the first
Nashville next weekend.
And then Sarasota, Florida after on the 18th. So if you haven't got tickets over in the States, go do it. Go do it because it's shaping up to be good. Anyway, pay-per-view. First things first, welcome back to commentary. Tim Storm was back with Joe and Danny Dills, and they were brilliant all night.
I think the three of them together are great. Obviously, you've got Tim kind of doing colour, and then you've got kind of heel colour with Danny. Lots of little disagreements and niggles the whole way night. I thought the three of them bounced off each other absolutely spectacular last night. So kudos to the comms team. They did a brilliant job. So well done, all three of them.
Yeah, they were fantastic. I loved them. They were great. And as you mentioned, Hill bits, Danny Dills ripping referees to bits during some of these matches. We'll get into that. Obviously, Father James Mitchell, the grand host of the show, kicked us off here. A lot of women with him, big bottle of Jack Daniels with him, and he welcomed us to hell. And funny enough, that switched straight in. So it was a nice opening, by the way. The opening package was really good. If you haven't already, go and check that out. Ultimate Tag Team War. Now, I didn't know everything about how this works until Competence done a great job running this down, by the way.
Yeah, they did. Because I'm not going to lie, I got a little bit confused at one point. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, probably.
Yes, I do know. So
for
those of you that don't know, so it was, you can either be eliminated by pinfall, submission, or by thrown over the top rope. And once all of your team have been eliminated, you choose one to go back in, and that person is your final competitor. And if they lose, that's when it happens.
And that's the part I missed. Because I was like watching, going, how come? And basically, at one point, Max is back in the ring, having already been eliminated.
Yes.
And I obviously missed that one small nugget of information, and I was really, really confused for about 30 seconds till I figured it out.
Yeah, it was a bit of a confusion one. There was Alex Misery, there was Magic Inc., Max the Impaler, as you mentioned. There was Koa, there was Draper, there was Gags, there was Sal.
Mims. And Mims.
And our good friend Mims. So basically, obviously, if you remember what we said the other day, and thank you, by the way, everyone that's watched our show on YouTube. It was our highest viewing show of the week. Was our NWA Power review was the highest rowing show of the week. And just a side note, we are actually 34 in the official Apple Wrestling podcast charts. We have gone above the likes of Booker T and co, and we are very close to Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick on WWE's The Bump, who are just above us. So,
thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
Thank you for everyone. And that is on the Apple and Spotify stuff, so you don't see our beautiful faces, but you hear our beautiful voices. So
sometimes that's not a bad thing, let's be honest.
Sometimes you're right, it's not. But anyway, we sidetracked on this match. Was absolute nuts.
It was. It was kind of hard to keep track of. I'm not going to lie. My favourite part of the entire match is Barker self-eliminating himself, because he decides to dive over the top rope to knock some folk out the ring, not realising that would cause him to be out the match.
Yes,
that was funny. That's probably my biggest pop for that match, to be perfectly honest with you.
I have a long list here. So initially, Draper eliminated Max, which was a big surprise that he
at the start. Yeah, that was very surprising, and he eliminated Max in quite spectacular fashion as well.
He did, and then he press slammed Alex Misery over the top to get a second one, and then he was eliminated in the end by, as you say, the Barker. He eliminated him. Cody James eliminated him. And then he eliminates himself, as you mentioned, by diving over the top rope onto Koa, funnily enough, and the rest of the gang. CJ and Celeste went at it.
They did. Khalees and CJ had, they were looking pretty vicious with each other, to be honest with you, and had it get ripped apart by Koa and Magic Jake.
Yes, and then speaking of Magic Jake, he eliminates Koa by the DDT. He is then eliminated himself by Mims. What's it, the strongest slam or something, isn't it?
I can't remember what
something strongest slam he does. I can't remember what it's called now. It's my notes.
Sorry, Mims.
Sorry, Mims. Yeah, apologies, Mims. I am reading my notes as I do this, and they're literally lines at this point because there's so much going on in this match. And then Judas eliminated Mims with a roll up, and then
at that point I went, "How is Max back in?"
Yeah, because then Max come in. So Judas eliminated by Mims by roll up. At that point, Max the Impaler comes back in, and we're like, "What's going on here?" And she absolutely destroyed him with a lariat.
Yeah, Max is someone that I would not like to be in the ring with. They are a formidable opponent.
And at this point, Gags comes in. Now, to try and put this away, Max the Impaler is a fridge. And Gags is probably the size of a McDonald's straw. That's how I would put it into perspective for you guys that are listening, not watching. So he's using keyboards. He used a gecko stick.
Yeah.
And then there was Danny Dills' ironing board, apparently.
Yeah, Danny said it was his ironing board. So the ironing board was brought out, but Max was having none of it.
No, and decided to throw Gags through the ironing board and picked up eliminated Gags, and then she got the chain and eliminated Sal. So at this point, all of that team were eliminated, and they had to choose one person. However, I don't think they got to choose that one person because Gags went in to help Sal, pull Sal out, in effect choosing himself on back in. And unfortunately for Gags and Sal, it didn't work. Max the Impaler absolutely destroyed Gags and pinned him again to give the victory to Father James Mitchell's team and condemn Sal and Gags to James Mitchell's arms forever. We're going to get into something a bit later on because we hadn't finished, and let's just say controversial moment, probably a bit that's going to divide a lot of opinion later on. Not the opinion of myself and my glamorous co-host. We are very much in agreement on this. We'll get into that a bit later, which we don't want to ruin. It kind of ruins the pay-per-view for us, but that segment was left a bad taste. But we'll get into that in a minute. Went to the commentary. They announced Hard Times 2024.
Yeah, no date, no location, but Hard Times, early 2024.
Yes,
I am going to be there, regardless of where it is. I will be there. That is my promise to NWA. I will be there.
You heard now. That means that you could be doing some live interviews for us. You know,
never say never.
A few interviews going for us, or put the feelers out. And we have put the feelers out to a lot more NWA talent, by the way. And we'll mention one that's come back with a yes. I can mention it because although the dates are not confirmed, I can mention it, and I'll mention it a bit later on. They then took us to a match that was going to be on the pre-show, but they bumped to the main card. And that was Loser Leaves NWA Forever match. It was Rolando Freeman was the ref. It was Rush.
And Rolando Freeman. And it was Brady Pierce versus Rush Freeman.
It was. And that match was coming along really strong. There was a lot of it. They was refereeing it down the middle. At one point, he had to pull himself
Rolando was brilliant. I'd just like to say, what was the referee costume all about? The crop top and the shorts?
No, and you still want me to do that dance, right?
Yeah, I do. But no, not the costume. But Rolando.
Yeah, good referee.
Just a round of applause for Rolando because I did not expect him to be so straight.
You would never get me in that costume either. For everyone that hasn't seen it, Rolando wears a cropped top style referee outfit.
And some nice black shorts.
And some nice black shorts, hugging black shorts, shall we say. Anyway, so at one point he was being fair. He got to a 4 count when I think it was Rush had mounted Brady at this point, and he was counting as you normally do as a ref to get the 5 count. As he was going to count 5, he ended up diving on. Yeah. Rolando to get Rush to get him off so that he could not have to DQ it. The match was going on as it was going. There's a few more near falls, and then Rush hits Rolando hits the low blow onto Brady.
Yeah.
And when you think that's just going to end up being a pin, oh no! All of a sudden, who comes out, Fee?
Matt Cardona.
Matt Cardona, who was originally scheduled to have an open challenge match. Matt comes out. He basically just destroys everything. He
came out and killed everybody, pretty much.
And then put Rush onto Brady and then counted the hands down of Rolando to 3 to pick up the win. So Rush Freeman wins. Brady, unfortunately, now has to leave the NWA. I don't know how that's going to work in these circumstances because technically the referee didn't count. It was Cardona counting the hand.
Yeah, but it was the referee's hand that slapped the mat. So you've got to look at it that way. A little bit of controversial, but
just a few bits of controversy. But it didn't end there. Cardona then gets the worst thing NWA could have done was given Cardona a microphone.
Oh my God, he was just like everybody. Like he just went for everybody. Absolutely everybody.
I've got here that he called Latimer a bitch. He called Hogan a bald-headed bitch, which probably not the wisest thing to do. Call the boss of the owner of the company a bald-headed bitch. I take personal resentment to that. And I should have worn my top today that said "bald is best," but save that for another day. So then he said,
didn't he?
Well, he called out Billy Corgan. He called out the man himself, and let's say he didn't back down. Corgan got on the mic as well. Cardona wants to be in the main event. He wants to be a freeway. Corbin had a few words. One of the words was fucking, I think he said at one point.
Oh, Sweetie Beasties last night.
Yeah. And he asked the crowd. The crowd seemed up for it. The crowd seemed to want it.
Billy looked pretty angry last night with Cardona, to be fair.
Yeah, it didn't look, he wasn't a happy Billy, put it that way. And then finally he said to the words to Cardona, go to hell. Basically saying, no, you're not going to have your match. And at that point, Cardona then tries to go for Billy, backs him into the corner, turns around.
And out of nowhere.
Yes, and comes to a spear from the brick house. That is Camille. And then she hits him with a chair, I think, at that point as well. And that brings to end that segment. Craziness. It doesn't end there. We'll get to the main event when we get to it. But wow, Camille showing her stuff, though.
And up for our man.
Yeah.
Always, always, always.
Indeed. I'm going to say that the next match for me was my absolute favorite from a wrestling perspective. There was another match that I really enjoyed from a craziness perspective. From a wrestling perspective, this was my match. Pillar to post. It was actually Falls Count Anywhere. Kobe Carino versus Joe Alonzo. And when they said Falls Count Anywhere,
they literally did go everywhere.
Everywhere. They went throughout this fear. I mean, Kobe was doing some insane stuff. He jumped off the
balcony, the mezzanine.
The mezzanine. He done another one, didn't he? Threw him off the stage at one point, the top of the stage, which had some Halloween stuff. He threw him off of that.
This was always going to be a brutal match between these two guys. They've been going back and forth on social media. It got very personal between the two of them. If you've seen any of the promos, if you've seen anything on X or on Instagram, you'll have seen it. It got very personal. And there is no doubt in my mind that Kobe was coming out to absolutely destroy Joe. Just as Joe was going to come out to absolutely destroy Kobe, but obviously only one person can win.
He did. And at one point in that show, there was a bit where Kobe got thrown into the ring post, got some colour. He was bleeding. At the point we mentioned when he dived off of the mezzanine, actually, Joe moved out of the way. And he
legged it. He was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It was all the security guards that caught it.
Exactly. But he then hit the stroke, what I call the stroke, is Jeff Jarrett's version of the sort of reverse Russian leg sweep on Kobe on the outside. But the referee was still up on the game. He hadn't
got down. I think was it Scott Wheeler? I think it was
Scott Wheeler hadn't got down.
Hadn't got down in time, obviously fighting his way through the crowd.
So he was late getting the cover, and I think Danny Dills made a point that he should have jumped with Kobe down to the ring. So he only got a 2 3/4 at that point.
It was close.
It was very close. He hits the stroke enough. At one point, he tried to, I think, choked him with something. Then he hit a trash can on Joe, did Kobe. Then he tried to suffocate him by putting the actual bag of
that. I was kind of like, oh, I don't like this. Bag, no, that was made me a little bit uncomfortable at that point.
Yeah, that was the extreme part. Then he hits the DDT on the floor and picks up the win. So Kobe retains the championship. And say he was still bloody. I just kept thinking of Steve in ECW when I see him get colour.
That is definitely the result I was hoping for that match, though. Absolutely.
Without a doubt, I was definitely, that's the result I definitely wanted. You go from I would say to the sublime to the ridiculous, but it wasn't ridiculous. It was just it was. It's a game that you would play with you. Have you ever played and I know for you 96 weeks sober now, or whatever. Is it 96? 96 it is, isn't it? Well, so congratulations for that. But it's kind of like the game that when you play drinking bingo is what I would class this as. So this was the Southern Six versus the Headbangers in a rock and roll match. Didn't have a clue what rock and roll meant.
No, we did. We weren't sure. And even when we spoke to Silvio last week, we weren't 100% sure how this was going to go down and what the actual rules of this would be. So maybe not quite what I expected.
We soon found out that it was the rock and roll match basically meant that if you went for a pinfall and you didn't get the 1, 2, 3, you had to drink a shot of whiskey.
And they had plenty ringside for them.
Oh yeah, they had a lot of whiskey. I think Kerry was maybe slightly worse for wear on this one. I didn't do a lot for this. I have a lot of notes for this because it just was crazy. There was more pinfalls in this match, and I think there was the rest of the paper.
I think that was a deliberate thing. Let's be honest. The Headbangers are probably like, let's just get the drinks in, and No, not that I'm saying they were deliberately lifting on the 2 count, but there might have been 1 or 2 that I think, yeah, you could have got the 3 there.
You could have got the 3, but you decided. I think they even drank before they got in the ring.
Yeah, they did. They had the bottles before the match even started. So,
and in the end, Kerry Morgan stole the victory. Kerry Morgan with the feet on the rope.
Feet on the rope. There was a couple of decisions. I was going to say that was one of these ones of like, how did the ref miss that? But there was a few things last night in various matches that I'm thinking, ref, you really should have picked up on that.
The ref probably got drunk on the smell.
Yeah, good possibility.
But what do we do when Kerry Morton?
Boo, Kerry!
We boo Kerry. There you go. That's what I was looking for. The ending, though, after that, Alex stayed in the ring. He was going to toast with their headbangers, and they hit him with the stage dive. But I think it caught him a little bit. Is if you notice, the leg lands flush on the face.
Yeah.
It's holding his face. I know that he went backstage and they were done an interview, I think, for the X or Twitter, whatever you call it, and he was fine. But I think he may have copped a bit of a stinger of that one because the leg did definitely land on the face if I saw it. I did see it correctly. I had to rewind it to make sure, but he definitely caught one in the face. But nevertheless, the Headbangers got a great response from the crowd.
It was good to see them back. Obviously, long-time former NWA Tag Team champs. So it was really good to see them back in the ring again. In their kilts of sorts.
It took me back to the old NW. It took me back to the Attitude Era for me personally. That's when I saw the Headbangers wrestle a lot. The match that we were kind of looking forward to because it had our good friend Jax Day was next with a submission match with Bulletproof Truth. There was and Chris Silvio was there. He bought the skull.
He did.
Me. That was what we called it. So he brought me to the ring with him. He had it as well on an interview that he done because I mentioned it on X, and he responded to that. A lot of big moves early on in this. Troop was going into his MMA background. He was doing a lot of takedowns and having a lot of submissions. The commentary made a good point that obviously with Troop with his MMA background had a lot more submission expertise than Jax, who just has the one.
And that's why I went. My heart was saying Jax, but that's why when we did the show with Silvio last week, I really did think that's why I was going with Troop, just because of his expertise.
You did, and I did say a little spoiler in that. Now this match is finished, I can say, because I did say that Jax would either make him tap or make him pass out, and that's what he did to his version of Camel Clutch.
He absolutely did.
But he did make him, and he did show respect to Tim Storm as well. If you noticed, he went down and gave him a little, I think it's a fist bump, I think it was. Yeah. But he made Troop pass out to his version of the Cobra Clutch, or the Camel Clutch, if you want to call it, which was good. Silvio didn't really get involved too much, really, in this.
No, I'm surprised at that. I thought there might have been a little bit more involvement from him because you just never know with Silvio. But you know that Troop can take care of himself at the end of the day.
He certainly did in this match as well. It was a good match.
It was a very good match.
Yeah, it was a good match indeed. I did enjoy that one as well for the hard-hitting nature of that match. It was really, really good. And Jax picks up the win. What happens with Jax as we roll on to the next load of tapings? We'll just have to wait and see.
Who knows? Just keep rolling through the roster, mate.
That's right. Just keep steamrolling through. We had our first women's match on the show. Obviously we had it on the pre-show, but this was on the main card now. Pretty Empowered versus Markova and Rising.
There was no stipulation on this one.
No, the women's matches were the only two, I think, that had no stipulation. They were straight up wrestling rules matches, I might as well call them. They were straight up wrestling matches, and this was a really good tag match. Markova, I think, showed that she's not used to being in a tag on this. There was a couple of occasions where they were she was getting involved when she was not meant to. She's on the outside. There was bits and pieces where I think there was just a bit of confusion from Markova, although she did thank me on Facebook because I did say that her outfit looked really good. And
you haven't seen her. Markova came out with a Harley Quinn costume on.
It's only Rising, different version.
Taylor. Yeah, Taylor. I kind of took Taylor more as a kind of Joker type because of her green hair and things like that. So I was seeing that more as a Joker as opposed to Harley Quinn. But they both came out in costume, as did some other people across the night. Had some Halloween costumes, stroke wrestling ring gear on. So yeah, it was good. Markova looked sensational last night, not gonna lie.
She did.
Looked amazing.
She certainly did. Unfortunately, they didn't pick up the victory. There was no Roxy either. She didn't get involved.
I know, because we thought she might have come out, particularly after what we saw on Power last week. So yeah, no Roxy. That was interesting.
No Roxy, but they did. Kylie hit the code. Kylie, 1, 2, 3. I just put it down to an experience of Markova and Rising not being a team.
They're new. They're new. They've only recently been together, so I think it's going to take them a little while to gel and kind of get a proper feel and know where the others' kind of skills lie. Whereas you've got Ella and Kylie, who have been tagging together for quite some time now, and probably know each other inside out and know their moves and their sets inside out. So
exactly,
that was the result I was expecting for this match.
Yeah, I was expecting that as well. And who knows? It might not be the end of Markova and Rising. We'll have to see as we say.
Yeah, I think we'll see more of them.
Yeah, more of them as a team. They look good as a team, just inexperience going up against experience, and usually experience finds a way to win, and that's exactly what happened in this one. Now for another match that we didn't know what was going to be. And I must say, I was slightly disappointed with it because they did say Burning Lake Brawl, and you obviously your head goes.
I just has visions of so much goodness and excitement, and I was like, oh.
Basically, in NWA terms, it was a street fight. I know I don't make those rules up. It's what we got to. However, the match didn't disappoint. The match was really, and again, hard hitting. I think Silas may have broke his nose. I think quite early on.
Yeah, he got it quite spectacularly.
He got it quite. It was really good. What I liked about the end of this was there was a point where Adonis tried to put the master lock on and he didn't quite get it on, and there was a point when he tried to get the thrill ride and then he then escaped the thrill ride, put the master lock on, and then he got reversed again into the thrill ride and finally picks up the win. I thought that sequence was
really well done. Yeah, it was really good. Really good.
I thought it was great. Bit surprising that I felt a bit surprising that Silas Mason kept the title. I thought he was going to go on to Adonis.
Really?
I felt I don't know why. I just had a feeling. I know it was his first defense.
Yeah.
I just felt that it was. I felt that Adonis had a lot of momentum going into it. I just felt
he did. He did have a lot of momentum going into it. I guess with Adonis, it's now another one. Kind of what's next for him, really.
What is next?
That's the national title. Does he go back to the TV title? Does he go for the heavyweight championship? I don't know. Does he go and take Silas on again and have a rematch? I don't know, really. He's another one. He's been around the NWA for a long time. He's super talented. I don't know what's next for Chris, to be honest with you.
I hope that get him a rematch.
Yeah, I'd quite happily watch the two of them throw each other about again, to be perfectly honest.
Indeed. Now, the next match was my favourite match for just absolute insanity.
It was nuts. Absolutely nuts.
It was crazy. So I can't do the Riddle the way that Violent J does it. I have tried it. It sounds ridiculous, so I'm not going to.
That's quite all right.
The Riddle box match. So if those of you who didn't see Power, the boxes, there was going to be a load of boxes at ringside. They were going to contain items that you can use in this match. It was still a standard, I'd say 6-man, but Violent J hardly got involved in it.
No, not till the end anyway.
He took out Vampiro with a clothesline and sort of kicked his leg out a little bit in the early goings, and then he disappeared for majority of the match, and we didn't see him until the end. So I've got written down here, there was a slingshot with ping pong balls. There was the match was the Brothers of Function and
versus Larabellion
and Vampiro. Totally forgetting who was totally not scared who was involved. Yeah, versus Larabellion and Vampiro, and they brought somebody else in, didn't they, to ringside.
They had I forgot his name, but from the Misfits.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got written down here: slingshot ping pong balls, rubber chicken,
lightsabers,
merch.
balloons.
Yeah, balloons.
A drum. We've got rope. There was rope as well.
Yeah, pumpkins.
There was pumpkins.
And then
popcorn and thumbtacks.
Yeah.
I think. And then, but I don't know, because there was some mist involved, and I don't know if that came from a box.
That could have come from the box. There was some mist involved by Larabellion. They did spray the Brothers of Function with some mist. However, the finish of this was Violent J hitting Vampiro's finisher on him. And getting the 1-2. I want the Brothers of Function. I want their song on my phone.
It's cool, isn't it? It's really
couldn't
cool.
make out every bit.
Violent J made that specially for them. So
I need to find that song. So surely they're going to release it.
I'm sure it will be out somewhere.
I need that. But the brothers have gone.
No, I was going to say it was just a really, really fun match. A little bit silly in places. There was a reasonable amount of wrestling in it. It wasn't
They've got some lucha moves.
If you're looking for a technical wrestling tag team match, this is not the match for you.
No.
There was some good spots in it, but it was just really, really fun. Maybe not as hardcore as I was expecting.
True.
I was like rubber chickens, okay. I was maybe expecting some slightly more hardcore things in the boxes, but then it's clowns.
It's clowns. That's what I had to get out of my head, because I was feeling away. I was like, where's it? Where was barbed wires, or where's?
Yeah, I was looking for something like that, but it was a lot of fun to watch. It really was.
It was, and as I said, Violent J picks up the win on Vampiro. So the clowns, the brothers of Funkstruction, go on now. Where do they go for the US tag titles? I know they cost. I think they cost the US tag titles, didn't they?
Yeah.
So where do they go from? Because that's the third time.
Yeah.
So
I really don't know, but I just like to say Larry Billion have always been my boys, and they have been my boys for a long time. But the Brothers of Instruction have totally grown on me. I'm not a clown fan, right? Clowns give me the fear. We've had this conversation, but these guys have grown on me. They really, really have, and I'm like, do you know what? I think the NWA need them.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see what happens.
They've been really entertaining to watch.
They have. I think they've been great. I like the clowns. I still like gags. But however, talking about gags, now we come to the little bit that I felt about the show that kind of let it down for me personally. I know you feel the same. So they cut back to Father James Mitchell, who was in the crowd, I suppose.
Yeah, and a bar set up, and they were supposed to be having from what Com said, they were supposed to be passing the mic over to him and having a talk, and basically they're at the table, and there's Father James, there's Gags, there's Sal. I don't know who else was there because I wasn't really paying attention. But basically they're sitting and appearing to do lines of coke off the table.
Coke being cocaine, for those of you that...
Yeah, sorry. For me,
yeah,
I understand that Father James has an image and debauchery and everything's all part of, and the dark side's all part of his character and who he is. There was kids at that show last night, and there was kids watching at home, and I think to depict people taking illegal substances was just wrong, right? I'm just going to flat out say it, and you can come for me if you like. I will stand by this. It was wrong, right? I don't agree with it at all. And that really, I've written, and I was just like, WTF on my notes. Like, why would you do that? I put it out on a tweet last night, and folk were coming back to me saying, oh, I thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, that's great. If I was at the show with my kid in the audience and my kid's sitting there going, what are they doing? Like, no, I'm sorry. That's just, for me personally, that's just not okay for a show that kids are able to attend. So no, I'm not down with that. I'm sorry. Like I said, come for me all you want, but that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
No, I
disappointed.
Yeah, there was limits to what. Yeah, there is limits to what you should portray on television. And if they'd come out and were drinking a load of stuff and being a bit
scantily clad women kicking about wouldn't have bothered me. They're not illegal things. They're not something that you can get banged up for. Yeah, I'm really disappointed with that segment, not gonna lie.
Me too. I felt as if it left a little bit of taste going into the next match, and we'll get into that now. But we wasn't very keen on that part. But anyway, the next match was the Women's World Championship match. Kenzie
was another no stipulation match.
Another one that was just full on wrestling, and it was just full on wrestling. Actually, it was
great.
Really, really good match. There was so much going on this. I really liked this match actually. There was a couple of times when I thought, oh, maybe she hit Ruthie J hits. I think it was called Stardust at one point, which is one of her big moves. Mm-hmm. And I thought, if you go for the cover now, you may get the job done. But she went to the top
Yeah.
Another move, missed it, and then Kenzie then basically hit. She went for the frog splash, which she missed, and then Kenzie, as she was rebounding off the match, hit the Kenzie car.
And it's game over, basically.
It is. So maybe a little bit of an experience again from Rufy showing there, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. She's new to the NWA. I don't know how long she's been wrestling for. Kenzie's ruthless though, absolutely ruthless. I'd have been very disappointed if Kenzie had lost that belt last night. I would have been very disappointed. I think she's in for a reasonable title run. But fair play to Ruthie. She put on a cracking match, and she wore her heart on her sleeve, and she went out there and gave it her all.
Right, definitely so. She definitely did, and congratulations to Kenzie for her second defense, because obviously she did the taping one, I think, of the power tapings after she got the title from Camille. So second defense, very good. Ruthie J won't be the last we see of her. Maybe a rematch down the line.
Not at all.
But we're a very good women's match. But we wax lyrical about what they do with their women.
Best division with bar none.
Keep more of the same as you roll on to the next set of power taping, please, Billy, but less of what we saw before that. That would be lovely. Knights of the Round Table.
I was so excited for this. So excited. This is another ridiculous, silly, just so good.
Ridiculous, but it's nevertheless delivered on what it. So for those of you that don't know, you've got your regulation tables matches, but to win this match, you had to put them through a round table, which was situated on
a particular round table, not just any round table, a particular one.
A particular round table, which was located on the stage, just below the stage, where the stage was. So if you put them through a normal table, when Carl was brilliant through this, by the way. There was, so it was blunt force trauma, not.
I just laughing now. I just remember Kyle going, Kyle going, no, wrong table, doesn't count.
So,
Kyle did a good job of keeping everyone right on this one.
he did. It was the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Blunt force trauma, Knox and Murdoch. They were choke slamming through the table, and then, as you say, Carl's getting the mic saying that was a regulation table. This doesn't count. Match continues. There was like a big DDT from Damage during that. Then Trevor went through the table. There was a spear through a table.
There was tables getting broken left, right, and centre in this match, but none of them were the correct table.
None of the correct table. Then there was a midget.
Lord Eric Smalls came out. So at the start of the match, you have Maid Marian, you have the Wizard, you have two Knights Templars, and you have Eric Small on the stage. And Eric decides to come into the ring with his own little table, thinking that would be fine, and looking at Trevor as though he could maybe potentially put Trevor through that small table. He
low-blowed him, didn't he?
He did low blow him, he did. And I think Trevor just went, literally, fuck you, mate. Picked him up, bang, through the table.
The chokes and just to be said, before this match started, sorry, Billy did announce that Aaron was banned from the building.
He's banned from ringside, yeah.
Banned from ringside, sorry.
And Aaron was away sunning himself in the Bahamas or something like that. Was it Puerto Rico? Yeah, okay, there you go.
So anyway, you got choke slammed Lord Eric Smalls through the table. There was a high-low through the table as well, and then it went up to the top of the stage where the round table was, and just as it looked like Knox and Murdoch were going to pick up the victory, all of a sudden one of the Knights turns around and knocks them both out, and then they get choke slammed through the round table. BFT win. The Knight takes off his mask, and it's Knight.
And who is it?
Aaron Stevens. Aaron with the glove, because the Knight took off his glove and it was a white glove, and because the commentators were like, how have they this Knight managed to knock out Knox and Murdoch?
That match, to be fair, that match started and everyone came out, and my first reaction was, Aaron's in that wizard costume. I didn't even think about the Knights. For whatever reason, the Knights didn't, and I was like, he's under that wizard hat, because you couldn't see the face, and he had a big long beard, and it was like pulled right over. I was like, that's Aaron, and I was convinced the wizard was Aaron. So when the Knight comes out of nowhere, I was like, what?
Yes, I thought it was the Knight at the point when it was up on the top. I thought one of the Knights are going to do something, and it turned out it was one of the Knights, and it was Aaron Stevens. So
he gets away with it because he wasn't ringside.
He wasn't at ringside. So there's a difference.
I'm devastated. I wanted Trevor and Mike to win them so badly, like so badly. I am heartbroken for them. I'm not okay with that result. That's the one result from the night that made me go.
Boo
Like,
Aaron Stevens.
Boo Aaron Stevens, but not as much as Boo Kerry.
There you go. Main event time. It was EC3 Tom Latimer. Latimer come out with like the Macho Man.
Oh, he looked amazing. Having Camille as Miss Camille. Oh, so good.
And Macho Latimer, I called him at this point.
He looked brilliant.
He did. I think Camille had a few issues up top.
I did see him pulling her
pull it up, the shirt up, the dress up at the top. Some of these things. There was a bit where EC3 goes for a dive and Camille throws a chair at his head.
So absolutely brutal. Catches him a belter.
Oh, it was an absolute belt. Just to make this is no limits, no count, and no disqualification. Pinfall had to be inside the ring though. That was the only thing with this one. But it's no limits. Yeah, she threw the chair. It walloped it. At this point, Latimer moves away and lets Camille do it.
Talking to the headset. And Camille's in the ring with EC3.
I felt like he was being like the unhinged version of Macho Man, you know, when like he was just, you know.
Yeah, it was just, I was like, where is he? And then you hear him speaking and the camera pans and he's actually got Danny's headset on and he's like talking. Just.
I thought it was funny when Danny was like, I'm going to auction this on eBay.
Yeah.
You know, Danny Dills is like, it's always in for the.
Anything to grab a little bit of that money.
And if you can have a bit of the green dollar, Danny Dills is your man. Yeah, he went off on one then. There was a fight forever chant, which kind of tells you how this match was going. The crowd,
it was always going to be great. It was always going to be good with the two of them in the ring.
Indeed, and there was a power driver on the outside of the ring as well. I think by Latimer onto EC3. I'm surprised EC3 wasn't busted open after the chair shot.
Yeah.
Well, but there was some big shots after that. There was a lot going on, and then there was a point of this where EC3 pushes because Camille was behind Latimer at this point in the ring. EC3 pushes Latimer into Camille.
And Camille winds up in the corner in the ring post.
Camille lines up in the ring post, and all of a sudden, who would come back out from the show? None other than Matt Cardona, looking to give her. I used to call it the drive-by, but it's called the reboot when Cardona does it, which is a kick into the face. As he goes to do it, Latimer covers her, takes the kick himself, and then I think is it the Overman or the Override he hits or something like that?
I can't remember what it's called.
He hits that 1, 2, 3. The match ends. EC3 retains. He faces off with Cardona, so I think maybe that direction they could be going, or potentially a triple threat they could be going for hard times. Perhaps there. Then Latimer and EC3 go at it for a bit, whilst EC3 just sits on his throne. And that's how.
Yeah. So a little bit of Cardona and Latimer. Not the result I wanted. I don't dislike EC3, but I just feel like Tom has worked so hard and deserves to have that belt.
Is the point being proven here, though, what EC3 was saying? Yeah, he chose his wife over the championship.
Well, he did. Quite clearly, he did. Obviously, Cardona was lining up the headshot to Camille. I think potentially if Tom hadn't done that, then he may well be standing victorious as champ today. But he did go and protect his wife, which buys into the whole narrative that EC3 has been saying the whole time, that EC3 chose wrestling, Tom chose women, basically, and his wife.
Exactly that, and that wraps up Hunt's Heart, the end of the Samhain. But it totally delivered in everything it was going to say. The most violent pay-per-view that NWA have done. Absolutely agree with that.
I thought it was a really good pay-per-view overall. In terms of the hosting by James Mitchell, I kind of expected a bit more from him. Really, we didn't see a lot, so I don't feel like Father James really got to showcase himself, and maybe I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of him in between the matches and just a little bit more of his chat, because I think at one point he came out and he was just like, we're drinking, I've got nothing else to say sort of thing, just got on with the show sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. If we take the whole drug incident out, It was a great show. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. There was lots of silliness, there was lots of violence, there was lots of incredible wrestling, and I think everyone smashed it out of the park.
Absolutely agree.
It was really enjoyable.
Yeah, what a great way for NWA to end their last pay-per-view of the year before they move into hard times. As you've already mentioned, they are going to be taping on the 4th and the 18th of November, the next season of Power. When does that come on YouTube? I don't know, but they did mention Power on Tuesday.
Power would be on Tuesday, so I'm not sure what's going to air this
Maybe it's
Tuesday.
a best of or something.
It might be. I know that in the past they've done recaps of pay-per-views, so there might be a little recap of the action from last night on Tuesday.
Yes.
I guess we'll just need to wait and see.
We'll wait and see. But I can tell you that we will soon be having another NWA guest on the show. I spoke to him. We're gonna tie it back up. I'll probably message him while I'm in Madrid just to see if we can firm up a date. But it's none
You're
other.
going to Madrid?
Yeah, I haven't told you, have I? I'm going to Madrid.
Oh, right, okay.
Haven't mentioned it at all, have I? But it's none other than one of the voices of NWA, Joe Galley, will be joining us on the show at some point. We're just tying up dates with him. So we'll be welcoming Joe with open arms very, very shortly on this show. We can't wait to have him on, and perhaps let's see if I can get Carl on as well, because I got to try and get
Kyle. We'll see if we can get Kyle on. We've had Danny on. Really only leaves Tim. Tim, if you're watching, please come and join us.
Yeah, Tim would love you to come and have a chat. We've had your pal Jacks on, so let's try and get you on as well to round that off. And listen, even Boo Kerry Morton, if you are man enough to join us from the Southern Six, come and have a go. But one of the interesting things was actually that I forgot to mention during the show was Ricky Morton come out with Hillbilly, and not the Southern Six Junior tag match, showing the importance of the title, which is, I put that down. I literally glanced at my notes and crap, I forgot to mention it. Showing that match was more important. The match was a title match, given the importance of the championship. So he didn't really get involved in it, but he did come out. So there we go. Whilst we're rounding up, Fee, what have you got on?
What have I got on? Other than this beautiful NWA hoodie from NWA shop. Thanks for plug for Danny. I had a brilliant night on Friday. We had Maximum Impact for Premier British Wrestling. We had somewhere in the region of 400 to 500 in for that, which was great. It was a really, really good show. This weekend, I am back with Premier British Wrestling on Friday, the 4th of November, at Shots, or maybe it's Saturday the 4th of November at Shots. So we have a show there. So that's all I've got this weekend coming up. So not too hectic for me, which is good. And then obviously we spoke about it before. I have some Pro Wrestling Scotland coming up, some more PVW coming up in November, and then December we have British Championship Wrestling, No Blood, No Sympathy, Inside the Ropes, one night only with Scotty 2 Hottie in Glasgow, and then 3 nights with The Godfather in London, Glasgow, Manchester and London on the 10th, 11th and 12th of December. So itrtix.com for those tickets.
There you go. I got a big shout out to the guys at RCWA in Raynham yesterday. Myself and my lovely other half, Rachel, went along. Rachel being the Instagram picture taker of the group. Went along. We were guests of the show. We went with our good pal CJ Carter from Ignite Wrestling, so he invited us to down with him. Great night of action. That was treated to by a coffin match with Warren Banks and Kelly Six. Kelly Six, who, good luck, actually, he's just on. He went for the TNA gut check today. However, I do know that the winner of the gut check of the show that has just happened over in Coventry, because Andy, our guy, our other host, Andy, we were given media tickets to go today. Obviously, due to my impending holiday, I didn't take him up on that offer, so Andy took a friend. But we do know that Harley Hudson has won the TNA gut check over in Coventry.
Nice. She was on our show on Friday night up in Scotland. So I'm delighted for her. That's amazing. That's really
nice. So congratulations to Harley Hudson. Congratulations to everybody who won. Big congratulations also to Leon Slater, who got signed by TNA, Impact Wrestling. Anyway, if you want to call it, I'm going to call it TNA. But yeah,
he's phenomenal. His match with Frankie Kazarian at Impact on Thursday was incredible. I am beyond delighted for that boy. Honestly, I'm so happy for him. Congratulations, Leon. Much
Massive
love.
congratulations.
Good luck.
19 years old. Has got a long-term deal with Impact Wrestling. So Andy is currently still there watching Impact in Coventry. We was at RCWA last night. Next week we're Rev Pro in London, 229, funny enough, the venue that we were talking about. The week after that, we're in our spiritual home back at Shenley Road with Ignite in Boreham Wood for their Curtain Call 2. 22 tickets remain. Smashing Mike defends his title, first defense against Chris Ridgway. The card will run through a card on another day. CJ Carter will be coming on, the GM of Ignite, in a couple of weeks' time to run through the card with me. So we'll go through the card on a different show. We're going to Shropshire Wrestling Alliance on the 25th of November, I think. On the next day, myself and Andy are going to Progress Wrestling at Camden in Electric Ballroom to see Warren Banks' retirement match against Gene Money, his trainer and best friend. I believe Ricky Knight Jr. might be there, as well as Ishii. I think Ishii might be there. I can't quite remember everything off the top of my head. Right, we're going to events all through December as well. We'll mention that on another show. Fiona, looks like we may be having a little break apart from the guests that we may be coming on from Power. Obviously, next week is a break for you anyway from the show, because as you mentioned, I haven't told you, but I'm going to Madrid. So
He doesn't trust me to do it myself.
more than happy for you to do an NWA one if you want. You just send me the video. And
it's all good.
I will upload that myself.
I don't trust myself to do it technically, anyway, so I had to get my son to set this up today. So yeah,
there you go. So it's been great talking NWA stuff with you over the last 5-6 weeks that we've done it. We will look forward to doing that again. Big thank you to everyone that's either listened or watched our shows. 35 in the UK. I mean, we are up there with the big WWE official podcasts and stuff like that. So we can't thank you enough. We went up 87 places. It tells you where we were to where we were. So we went up really big, but we may drop back down there again. But who knows?
Keep watching, keep listening, share it, like, subscribe, all of that jazz. We really, really do truly appreciate it.
We certainly do, and we can bring you more guests if you do that as well, because we'll get guests given to us as well, as if we can get more people involved in. More companies will take notice, and they'll give us some more guests, some big name guests to come on in the future as well. So big thanks to everyone for doing that. Fee, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm going to go and pack, as I haven't packed yet. But everybody,
holiday that you're going on apparently that we didn't know about.
that nobody knew about. Yeah, no, I haven't told anyone. But guys, this has been the NWA Samhain review show. I was your host, Adam Cousins. She has been the remarkable, the lovely, the amazing Miss Fiona Lockren. Until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.